So, what did I say in the previous video? That I'd be back to talk about the Reignited Trilogy. And why? Because I had a feeling they were gonna drop a trailer, and they did. They dropped the trailer around 11 AM Eastern Time. And guys, the trailer is looking beautiful. It's fantastic. It's like I went through this nostalgia trip. So here we are. What am I gonna say? This is it. After countless rumors, speculating, teasing, articles left and right, we made it. Spyro Remake is 100% confirmed. I still can't believe it. After making so many videos talking about these rumors, they dropped an actual trailer. Spyro Remade. It's crazy, right? Oh, wow. Anywho, the point of the video, guys, I'm gonna try to analyze it as much as I can, because analyzing trailers on this channel, I do that from time to time when it comes to one of my favorite series, Spyro being one of them. So let's just start. The trailer starts with Spyro's new model. As I said in the previous video, it looks sweet. He looks chubbier, but I don't mind. Comparing his model to the old one, they removed that white outer rim, like those white scaly parts. I'm not complaining, it still looks nice. In talking about scales, they went with less realism compared to the Insane Trilogy. Am I the only one who noticed this? A lot of people feared that Spyro would look way too realistic, like too much scales. But no. As for Crash, he had fur which made him look realistic. Now some people weren't a fan of that when they saw his model for the Nintendo Switch version. They preferred that. So overall, Spyro Remade is looking more cartoony, which I'm liking a lot. Right here, in the back, they added a door in Artisans. Does this mean more content? An extra realm? What do you think? I mean, looking at the amount of detail they added, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some sort of extra content somewhere. Think of Crash, the DLC. I'm not saying Spyro will have DLC, but who knows? Now the castle just looks much more detailed. Absolutely awesome to see this in Spyro, bringing the series to life like this. It is looking sweet. Everything is just more detailed. The background. And as for the lighting in this one, compared to the original, the lighting is pretty much a sunset. It's warmer, should I say. The original one was completely brighter. Although different, it still looks breathtaking. We have our Dragon Crystal statue right there, Nestor right there. Here, the angle makes it seem like the bridge got shorter, but looking at the previous screenshot, it doesn't seem to be the case. Just the angle. There it is, the castle. They went with gold purple and they added flags to it. The sky here, you can tell there's still a bit of purple going on just like the original, but overall the lighting, it's warmer. The adventure begins, let's go. Alright, let's go. Spyro flying high in the sky. The dragon has finally been unleashed. They added some smoky effects, I guess to represent that he breathes fire. Okay. Now this one, of course they had to make a pun. All scaled up, haha, get it? Spyro is a dragon with scales. Scaling means something larger in size, aka more detail, get it? No? Okay, maybe? Okay. Before I proceed, the music they used for the trailer, you can hear some Stonehill in there. In talking about the soundtrack, Stuart Copeland's soundtracks have been remastered. I'm not surprised. Everyone, including myself, assumed it would be. Here's what Activision shared about the subject. And if all of that isn't enough, we have two more exciting tidbits to share with you. In a homage to fans, Tom Kenny, by the way, the original voice actor in Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage and Spyro Year of the Dragon, has returned as the voice of Spyro in the trilogy Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Not only that, but the collection also delivers a wicked remaster of Stuart Copeland's original soundtrack from the first 3 games. Yes, for those of you wondering about the voice actor of Spyro, no, it's not Carlos Alazraqui, it's Tom Kenny, reprising his role for all 3 games, because he originally voiced for 2 and 3. Alazraqui said that he was not contacted for the reboot, that's what he called it. This right here, huge wave of nostalgia and magic. This part made me tear up. I don't know about you guys, but this before and after. Like, you grew up with this game, and seeing this in 2018, you're gonna tear up for sure. I mean, come on. This right here is the Toasty level from Artisans. In the PS1 footage, Sparks is blue, indicating the point of damage Spyro has reached. In the remake, the Shepherd looks so much better, like, he does look much better. And this time he reminds me even more of a generic wizard. Am I the only one? The dogs as well, they all have the same color scheme and all that. Now as for the gems, we don't see any, but in the old one, we do have gems. So I'm thinking maybe they just collected it and came back, something like that. I'm not gonna break my head over this, right? The surroundings have more depth. That we know, it's pretty obvious at this point. Rocks instead of plain grass, the sky is more orange, no dark tones like the original. The mountain is there and looks much more like a mountain this time. This right here, another trip of nostalgia. I mean, the whole trailer is nostalgia, I mean, come on. Spyro's walking animation is by the way, it's very reminiscent to Hero's Tail. I'm sure that a lot of you guys have noticed the same exact thing. The way he's walking, it's Hero's Tail written all over it. Very, very similar. Now, where are we here? We're about to confront Blowhard. Now, comparing the old one and the new one, the treasure chests seem to have been moved or removed entirely, or maybe they were broken beforehand. We don't know when this was actually shot. The background, much more detail, of course. There's a windmill which they added, tree on the rocks, much more lively. The Green Wizards, 3 of them, just like the original. As for the sky, this one so far is the one with the closest style to the original, color-wise. As for Toasty, High Caves, and Magic Crafters, yeah, they pretty much have different looking skyboxes. Same slick moves. I see they left in that roll move, which a lot of people never used apparently. And people believe it looks much more smoother, and because of that, they're gonna use it. Well, this is from what I've been reading, okay? Peacekeepers. Realm Ice Cavern. Looks much darker this time. More purple tint going on. And we got the Snowball Trooper. They had a complete color change. And they appear to be wearing a scarf. Activision said, characters will have more flair. And notice the red gems placed accordingly, just like the original. Here's what Activision added. The Spyro Reignited Trilogy is an awesome gaming experience that builds on the excellence of the first 3 games. Each level in the Spyro Reignited Trilogy is mapped faithfully from the originals, and the characters are creatively reimagined with additional flair, allowing fans to rekindle the fire with Spyro and his crew like never before. Players will experience a trilogy that's loaded with an astonishing amount of detail, refreshed modern-day mechanics, full analog stick support, and smooth camera holding. So for those of you who are wondering about those tiny details, well, there you go. Now, et voila, Sparks is blue here, indicating our health status. Another Snowball Trooper. This one looks blue this time, the other one had more of a greenish tone going on. And no, this doesn't seem to be the Skeep Trolls. This one looking more blue, maybe it has to do with the surroundings, the lighting? I mean, maybe, it looks that way. But to me, he looks blue. Next, look at the smile on this dude's face. He's finally been unleashed, like he's happy. I mean, look at that smile. Here we are at Lofty Castle. This one took me a while to visualize, because why? Because of so much more detail added. Like, are we looking at the same thing? This trilogy looks like a new thing, simply because of so much stuff they added. It's beautiful. We went from this, looking plain, to this. Spyro's flying landing animation looks pretty good, no complaints here. On the right side, I think that's the supercharge ramp. And looking at the roofs above the supercharge ramp, they have a different style to them, no horn-looking things, more like lines. The sky has a more darker atmosphere, and the colors as well. Now right there in that corner, there's supposed to be a cage, comparing it to the original, where you free a whirlwind fairy. But like I said before, this is early footage, so who knows. Here, again, notice how they focused less on textures, make it more cartoonish as opposed to Crash, which had higher textures in my opinion. Now I'm not too sure of this one. Maybe artisans? No sheep were harmed in the making of this game. A few Norks, but no sheep, by the way. Someone pointed this out on Twitter, and I feel the same way as well. The sheep. It looks like a sheep out of Ratchet & Clank, right? I'm gonna say something, but it's probably too far-fetched. Insomniac Games created Spyro. Insomniac Games then moved on to Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank did have Spyro Easter eggs, so Toys for Bob probably took that into account and made like a little subtle reference to Ratchet & Clank. And talking about Ratchet & Clank references, the ending of this trailer, you'll see what I'm talking about. Next, this to me looks like the Beastmaker's homeworld. Lots of changes going on in this one. The skybox being one. The overall feel of this level has changed. The old one has this sinister, creepy factor to it. Emptiness. The color of the boars. They went with the color tone, which is lighter, I guess to better fit with the color palette they used for this homeworld. Now, killing the boar releases a gem. In the original, killing a boar releases a blue gem. Here, I can't tell. And right there, folks, we have Cletus the dragon. Next, we move on to Toasty, right at the start of the level. The red gems, 2 shepherds, one on the left, and one guarding the entrance. But looking at the original, one is missing. So I'm thinking the way they recorded this is maybe they got rid of the first one and, you know. Next, Sparks is blue. I like pointing out these details, okay? Don't laugh. Toasty himself. With the power of the PS4, we can now see that the sheep is wearing a robe. Spoilers, by the way, it's a sheep. Comparing the two, I like the newer version better. It looks creepier. The old one, sure they had the same height, I guess, but that smile just didn't do it for me. It's too kind looking. And looking at these two, of course the new one has more detail added to it. Now this part of the trailer seems to be part of what they call recreated cinematics. And when Spyro speaks here, he sounds like Tom Kenny. Without the confirmation, I knew it was Tom Kenny. What about you guys? And boom, Artisans rescuing Nestor. Complete redesign. It seems like each dragon might have a different set of attire. And is that nail polish? I have no idea. Oh look, the goats are in the back. And what am I gonna say about the background? It looks fantastic, right? The egg thief, a close-up. Darker blue robe this time. The black face is still there, and it's still mocking Spyro. As for the egg, it has the same color, beige and purple dots. And the location here, it looks like Stonehill. And just like Artisans, the castle in the back, they added a bunch of flags. And there's much more vegetation. We have a jumping Nork at Artisans, lighter green, and we do notice the pillar platforms in the back, so this is definitely from Artisans. Here, it seems to look like Blowhard again. We see running or ramming, whatever you want to call it. It looks sweet. Now the treasure chests here are empty. In the original, they're full of course, and before getting to the red one in the new one, it cuts. We move on to other footage. This one, a bunch of windmills added. The old one pretty much had an empty background. Here we see red gems, and the numbers appearing on screen. And yes, they kept the gold color. Very nice. Here we're at Peacekeepers, Dry Canyon, and they just added more. The cactuses being an example. And counting the number of gems, it's the same as the original. However, we are yet to see the counter on the top left. And I mentioned Ratchet & Clank before, well, this is it. Remember the Ratchet & Clank PS4 trailer? Ratchet just walking and the background kept changing. The locations you visit, they did the same thing with Spyro, which looks very cool. Now I'm starting to wonder about those sheeps. Was that intentional? Was that really a Ratchet & Clank reference? Looking at what they did at the end of the trailer, what do you think? So looking at the first one, it's from Artisans. I'm not too sure here, okay, so bear with me. I tried. It's hard to tell, but there's a location at Artisans, like behind this huge pillar, you have 3 red gems and 1 green. It's a match. With all of the extra detail added, it's hard to notice. Sparks is blue again, okay. Hard to tell here as well. I'm gonna go with Homeworld Magic Crafters, due to the windmill being part of the level. That's my reasoning. Maybe treetops? However, the skies don't match here compared to the screenshot. This to me looks more like a village. But what about the torches? Could they have been replaced by candles? Or maybe we're looking at Dark Hollow? The skies do match. So which one do you think it is? Dark Hollow or treetops? I'm leaning more towards Dark Hollow, with the extra detail added in the background, the bookshelf. Anywho, this one, the dragon is right there. This one also took me a while to guess, because why? It looks very, very different. Is this really Misty Bog? I'm actually quite surprised. Major change. Looks more tropical. Where's the mist? Like, I'm sure this is Misty Bog. If I'm mistaken, point it out in the comment section, please. I'm not hating it, but this doesn't look like Misty Bog anymore. This one looks to be the Beastmaker's homeworld. Next one. I think this is the other side of Artisans. You know that entrance you go through with the trail of red gems and you get to Thomas? Yeah, I think that's it. And there seems to be more enemies, more Norks. Have you noticed? And we ended off with Toast. A beautifully animated sequence. So with that being said, that's it for the analysis part, guys. So the Reignited Trilogy is planned for PlayStation 4 and Xbox, Xbox One and Xbox One X. Now the North American version of the trailer removed the Xbox logo, but it is coming to Xbox. This was confirmed by Activision. As for the Switch and PC ports, a lot of people are wondering about those. Apparently from what I've been reading, the Switch version has been listed on Nintendo's UK website. So there you have it, folks. Last detail, the trilogy will cost $39.99 US and will release on September 21st, 2018. So with that being said, guys, this is it for the video. So how am I gonna handle this whole thing with Spyro now? I'm assuming they're gonna do the same thing as they did with Crash, release some gameplays here and there randomly, and what I usually do when that happens is I just compare the classic to the new footage, something I've done in the past on this channel with Crash. So I'm thinking I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. So with that being said, guys, leave all of your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. And as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you so much for watching.